Taehyung, I think it's better for us to sleep, Jungkook said while looking at Taehyung, who looked at him. That's when it hit his mind. Tomorrow is Sunday. That means their mean parents are going to visit them. Now all sleep vanished from Taehyung's eyes. He looked at Jungkook. Are you sleepy? It's Sunday tomorrow. Taehyung pouted, saying that we'll play games. Please, Taehyung said, swinging Jungkook's hand and looking at him with puppy dog. Yes, this is his trick, to convince others, and Jungkook successfully fell in his trap. Okay, he sighed heavily. He discovered a new thing that he somehow cannot resist Taehyung's antics to convince him. He found Taehyung extremely cute doing that, and doesn't want to break that innocent heart. I know this trick will work on anybody. Even enemies get into trap like this. Fabulous, Teeted. Keep it up. Taehyung praised himself in his mind and smiled heavily at his own plans. Okay, so what we'll play? Jungkook asked, looking around. He found a lot of video games kept in the racks. How about video games? Taehyung suggested, showing a new game he bought this week. Sounds good to me, Jungkook said, looking at the game. Cool. Come, let's play this. Even I bought it this week and played only twice, Taehyung said, and sat on the bed after arranging the wires and giving controller to Jungkook. They got settled soon and started playing. They didn't know when time passes, and soon Jungkook's phone rang. It was his alarm. It was already 6 in the morning. Oh my God! It's already 6 in the morning, Taehyung exclaimed. Don't know why. He was a bit disappointed. He wanted to play more. I have to leave now, Taehyung. It was fun playing video games with you, Jungkook said while getting up from the bed and fetching his phone. For some reason, Taehyung looked disappointed, and Jungkook saw that clearly. Oh, so now my little wifey is disappointed because I am leaving. This is what I wanted, Jungkook thought, and smirked, which went unnoticed by Taehyung. When Taehyung looked at Jungkook, he shifted to that cold face again. As Jungkook moved towards the door, Taehyung also trailed behind him. They went downstairs, while Taehyung still got something to talk to Jungkook. Jungkook, did you take the gifts you bought for your Hyung? He asked while walking towards the couch. Yes, don't worry, Jungkook said, with a cold face and voice, but they noticed a tense Jin sitting on the couch early in the morning. The reason, you ask? Well, today is Sunday. That means the visiting of their so-called selfish parent. Taehyung also got sad a bit, and sensing the tension in the atmosphere, Jungkook was no native man not to know something was definitely wrong here, but he didn't dare to ask. Hyung, I'll take my leave now. Thank you once again for letting me stay here, Jungkook said, showing gratitude like a gentleman. Oh, no problem, Jungkook. Don't say thank you. In fact, we should be the one thanking you for putting up with this masterpiece, Jin said, pointing at the said masterpiece, who was now pouting at them. Don't call me that. I am a good boy, Taehyung said, hugging the out of Jin. Yo, you're stingy. Go and bath first. Leave me, Jim said, trying to pry Taehyung's hands off of him. Jungkook shook his head in disbelief and went to his dorm. As the morning started with chores for beauties, they started to clean and organize things in the house. Jin had already bought the books to showcase his study of business to his parents, along with notes that belonged to Wish It. It has a near handwriting, and Jin's parents wouldn't doubt it. He hid other things in Taehyung's and Jimin's room, as their parents wouldn't check their rooms. Bogum and Wushik, along with Lily and Raya, went to receive their parents and auntie and uncle from the airport. Tig, I said you to sleep at night, but see your dark circles now. What will Auntie Kim say about this? Jin said worriedly. Not more than scolding me for playing games all night, Taehyung said, sighing heavily. That was true. She never really cared whatever he does. Ah, now that they might come here any moment. Is everything ready? Hosup chimed in, looking for perfection. Yes, Hyung. Don't worry, everything is perfect. We just have to act cool now. Don't take tension, Jimin said coolly. That's right. Taehyung added, nodding his head in agreement. They all settled on sofas with their books and other study things settled over the table and gossiping. As the doors closed, they wouldn't get a jump scare of their parents barging inside. After waiting for 15 minutes, the calling bell rang. The people inside the house flinched and looked there. Jin immediately rushed to the door, opening it without any further delay. Welcome, Mom, Dad, Uncle, Aunt. Finn bowed a bit and gave them space to enter. All the parents entered the house, looking at it. More like inspecting it. They looked at the couch, where some books are spread, and some on table, while Hoseok was still stuck in a match problem, too busy to look at someone. The elders looked a bit satisfied at the scene. Behind their back, Bogum, Wooshik, Lily, Rhea and Jin rolled their eyes, while Taehyung and Jimin rolled their eyes secretly. Oh, Mom, Dad, aunties and uncles. Welcome, Hoseok said, pretending like he had just seen them now. Taehyung and Jimin stood up from their seats as well. A silent wish for respect's sake. Sit down, kids. It's good that you are studying, Taehyung's father said, looking at the books. Others also nodded at bit, looking satisfied. Jin, are you reading this book? Mr. Park, Jimin's and Bogum's father asked, seeing the book with surprised eyes. Ah, yes, uncle. I borrowed this from library yesterday, Jin said a bit nervously. Very good, son. Read it completely. It's very beneficial book. If you ask me, just buy that book instead of borrowing it, he said, patting Jin's shoulder, and Jin just replied with a small nod. And okay, uncle. Jin's parents were a bit proud that Jin was doing as they are, saying he didn't disobey their words, even when they are not present. Everyone settled in the living room with a little chit-chats. Don't overthink. Taehyung's parents asked about his love relationships, to which he said he had none. Same goes to Jimin and Hoseok. They were asked the same questions, but Jin's parents were a bit difficult to impress. They asked him about his daily routine, his studies, grades, classmates and friends. Tae told them that he was friends with his classmate btsau, who happens to be desk mate. Jin's mother was more than happy. She took Jisoo's number and even made Jin call her and talk to them. Jisoo understood her assignment and covered up for Jin so that his parents didn't get suspicious. Later they talked to Bogum, Lily, Wooshik, and Rhea about business and other stuffs, and that's when they dropped the bomb. Taehyung and Jimin, we fixed your marriages with our business partners' sons. Mr. Kim, Taehyung's father dropped a bomb on their head. Taehyung's and Jimin's eyes were wide, about to drop on the floor. Jin's and Hoseok's jaws were already lost on the floor. What, Dad, you can't do that, as Taehyung almost shouted. Don't blame him. He was not even ready for all that, but suddenly Taehyung felt his cheeks sting. Yes, Mrs. Kim slapped him. Taehyung's eyes brimmed with tears and his lips wobbled, but he refused to cry in front of them. Wooshik was quick to step in. Mom, you can't do that. Brett is still studying. Why do you want to rush? He said in disdain. Jimin's eyes were pouring tears, but he didn't speak anything. He knows there is no use to talk to them. Hoseok sat stiff. He was worried for both his younger brothers. He wanted to stop them, scream at them, but couldn't, because this would interrupt something they are willing to do. Rhea, Lily, and Bogum sat stiff. They know something like this is going to happen, but they didn't expect to be this soon. Auntie, uncle, don't worry. I'll explain them. I know they'll understand. Bogum calmly interrupted them. He got a nod, for which he was relieved. Taehyung is going to marry Alex, and Jimin is going to marry Choi Minho. He is studying in that same university as yours. You might know him, Mr. Park said. But everyone's heart stopped hearing the name. Jimin and others were in pure horror. But here Jin, Rhea, and Lily were least bit interested in listening. Something was running in their minds. Later that afternoon, after having lunch in silence, their parents left. Bogum and Wooshik personally drove them off to the airport. and made sure they were completely out of the place. They couldn't take risk of them returning back when they are executing their plan. What we'll do now, Jimin said, crying his heart out, hugging Jeon, who was rubbing his back, while Taehyung was already red crying in Hoseok's embrace. They both were sensitive than others. Being youngers, they always get pampered. We'll do the final step, Jimin. We all have had enough of these, Jin said, his voice filled with rage and determination no one had ever seen. He hugged Jimin more tight and patted his head softly. When Bogum and Wooshik returned, everyone looked at them. They simply nodded their heads in positive. It's time, guys. Our final step towards freedom, Lily said, and everyone went to pack their bags. We are leaving the place and heading to the base, Taehyung said in a dark voice, his hands fisted, and he almost looked like a psycho. Wooshik, did you talk to them? Did they agree to help us? Taehyung asked, looking at him, who nodded his head. Yes, Tad. Not only that, but these don't even know that they have named those companies on our names. Note and Jake had done their job perfectly. Wooshik replied with a wink. How are they both doing? We are really risking your lovers there, Jing said in a worried tone. Don't worry, Jin, they're good. No one will get to know who is helping us. Jake and No work in different offices, and also we all talk in codes. Thanks to mastermind of this, Wooshik said again, pointing at Hoseok, who was proud of himself. Now that the evidence is in our hands, and there are piles of copies of them in the base, we need to be careful now. That Alice is not easy to handle, and I am really worried about that. He's been following us all the way in university too, Jin said, being worried. That's what worrying me, Hong. Hope they don't do any stupid stunt with Yoonmin and his friends, Jimin said with a worry-filled voice. What if we tell them our plan, Hoseok said, looking at everyone. Then Yoonmin will break up with our Mochi and run away. Taehyung deadpanned with a plain face, making others chuckle, and Hoseok pouted at that. Hound, that psycho Alex, and then that Yoonwil. Both are a big trouble looming on Tae for now. We can handle that brainless chicken, Minho, with Jane Hyung's pan and slippers. He'll run away. Moreover, Yoonmin once told me that Minho and his family didn't have that much of connections with higher authorities, Jimin said, looking at them. For now, we have to target our goals. Your semesters are almost done. Exams are coming and you have to concentrate on that for now. About shifting, I'll call Kay and his friends. They'll help, Lily said, being serious. Others nodded their heads and discussed further plans. Like this, the nights passed, and the Sunday also passed, with the terrible bombs being thrown and also perfect plans made to defend them. Time skip. Next day, Jungkook and his friends were waiting at the parking lot for Jimin and his friends. They were talking something when they noticed their car. Jimin immediately went to Jungkook as soon as they arrived and hugged him tightly without caring about anybody. Jimin really needed that. Kitten, what happened? Jungkook asked, sensing something extremely wrong. He can hear Jimin's heartbeat, but that was making him more anxious. This didn't settle well with him. He hugged Jimin more tightly and patted his back, soothing him. Jimin just buried his face into Yoongi's neck and inhaling his scent, trying to calm down. What happened? He asked again, breaking the hug as he felt Jimin calmed down. Yesterday my parents came to visit. They scolded me, tatted and hounds a lot. They even scolded Nunes. I am sad from yesterday, Jimin said with a pout, but sadness was visible in those crescent eyes. That's when Jungkook and Namjin also looked at Jin and Taehyung, whose faces were also dull. Suga saw Hoseok was in other dimension, staring at nothing on the ground. What is so interesting on the ground that he is staring at it like that, Suga thought, but soon shrugged his thoughts and focused on the conversation. With little talks, they entered the university and went to their respective classes with the usual drama of Yoonwoo pissing Taehyung off and Jungkook defending him. Yoonmi dropping Jimin in the classroom and going to his class. Suga attending his class, thinking if he's gonna get the cookies today also. Hoseok keeping the cookies and letter in Suga's locker, and going out like nothing happened. Jin taking the letter and going to class. Namjin followed Jin secretly to his class. In Taehyung's class, today, Jungkook and Taehyung sat beside each other, as they have become good friends, and decided to make the couple sit together. Yeonjin and Subin were more than happy with that decision, but what Taehyung didn't observe was the teasing eyes of Yeonjin and Subin that were directed to Jungkook, who shut them up without a sea gaze and a message saying, "If you have a wish to go early today and go on a date, stop with that nonsense, or else you know me well." Seeing that, both pouted but nodded, turning to the front and talking to each other. Later, Jungkook easily engaged Taehyung into talks, as he knows once Taehyung starts to talk there is no stop to it. But even Jungkook couldn't stop Taehyung from getting a detention. Taehyung being sneaky and mischievous was all needed to get a detention. "Today only I'll be in the detention room. Jimin will go with Yoonmin." Taehyung pouted while folding his hands on his chest. Jungkook was amused by the sulking beauty. Taehyung brought this upon himself, but now he's sulking. He chuckled internally. "No worries, Taehyung, you can come to the gym. I'll be there. You can also exercise for some time," Jungkook said, trying to be reasonable. "For what Taehyung has to come to gym?" "No, I don't like exercise." "Jungkook, can we go out like day before yesterday?" Taehyung asked with sparkly eyes. He got excited like a small kid. "Really, Taehyung? Did you forget how Taehyung was worried for you?" Jungkook said in his usual cold voice. Taehyung pouted, but he still wanted to go out. "Please, Jungkook, we'll come fast this time. Please," Taehyung said with a bigger pout and puppy eyes, keeping a complete Tatum face. Jungkook, smitten by Taehyung, just nodded his head absent-mindedly. That's when reality hit him. He got tricked again. "Control Jeon. You are unbelievable. How can you get so lost that you just agreed? My wifey is really masterpiece," Jungkook thought, looking at Taehyung, who was thanking Jungkook for agreeing with him and telling him where to go this time. Time skip. Lunch timed. Everyone was seated in the canteen, enjoying their meal. But someone was observing everything. That is Hoseok. "Something is definitely wrong here. I smell some love from these people." Taehyung is showing much interest in talking to Jungkook. Then Shimmy talks with Yoonmin. Here Namjin is trying to talk to my Jinny Hyungji, but he seems like he's not interested, he thought, looking at them. Yeonmin, Subin, Taehyung, Bonghyo, Diso, and Rose never talk much in the lunch time. I have seen Rose talk non-stop in the class, but not in lunch. Something is definitely wrong. I can sense that. But what is it? Hoseok's eyes darted between the suspects, trying to observe with a very serious expression, completely unaware that someone was already looking at him. What's with this look? Why is he shooting dagger with his eyes? Always on the couple. Here those people are absolutely having no idea about this sunshine. Getting heated up looking at them. Suga thought in mind, looking at Hoseok, who is busy observing. Hoseok shouldn't find anything, or else everything will be destroyed. Taehyung just now started to trust Jungkook, and here Namjoon's love story isn't even started. In this time we can't take any risk. Hoseok should be busy somehow, Suga thought, and messaged someone. He opened a contact, Rosie, and messaged, "Keep him busy in something. He's literally shooting daggers at those couple," he messaged and kept the phone aside. Rose received the message and replied with a but again. Suga went in his own thoughts about his admirer. Hoseok smiled a little when he saw Suga was reading the letter under the table. He just resumed his eating without looking at anything. "And Jin Hyung, today Jungkook and I planned to go to park near the home. Can we go, please?" Taehyung asked, batting his lashes, trying to look cute. "Nope," the answer came, straight, without any hesitation. Jin made a straight face and looked at Taehyung. "Hang, please, we'll come early. I'll be safe. Jungkook is also going with me, right?" Taehyung tried to explain. "I am not worried about you. I am worried about Jungkook. I wonder how he was still in one piece that day. But now I don't want to take risk about him. In said everything with a straight face. Taehyung pouted, and Hoseok and Jimin just suppressed their laughter. The rest on the table were left speechless. How can he say that? That is what they think. Seeing their conversation is not gonna end up in their favor, Jungkook entered the chat. Hyung, I request you to allow Taehyung. We enjoyed so much day before yesterday. Also Taehyung didn't create any troubles for me. We just played a lot. Jungkook took Taehyung's side and supported him. Seeing this, Taehyung also nodded his head and showed his famous puppy face to make Jin agree. Jin just sighed defeatedly. All right, but Jungkook, don't say I didn't warn you. You are bringing this trouble upon yourself, Jin said, and Jungkook just looked at them. Yeah, thank you Hyunji, you were the best, Taehyung said loudly in excitement, gaining attention. He bowed to everyone saying sorry. But this is not new to them at all.